Well, hello, how is everybody doing? Welcome back to Rule of Two Review. So today is going to be a lot of fun because, of course, we're going to talk about the Nintendo Switch. What else even is there to talk about on the internet about video games anymore? And we're going to discuss what I think are the 5 best and most exciting things about Nintendo's brand new console. Now, of course, for those of you who already know me, which is probably most of you, you do know that I have the very awesome and distinguished and unique pleasure to have been able to play the Nintendo Switch. Last weekend, I did, of course, go to New York City upon Nintendo's invite to get my hands on the Nintendo Switch and play a bunch of the games and the system and the controllers and the JoyCons and all that good stuff. So I feel like I have a really fun sort of perspective, like I said, to kind of add to this conversation. And a lot of people have been talking about this. What are the best things about the Switch? What are the most exciting things? What are the least exciting things? What are the things to be worried about? Are the things that some people who played it maybe didn't like? And it's a really important conversation, and I also think it's a lot of fun. I really get excited about talking about the things that make me really pumped about the new console. And even more so now that I've been able to go to New York and do what I was fortunate enough to be able to do. So I felt like it was probably worthwhile for me to talk about the 5 greatest things that I experienced, and also that I'm hopefully looking forward to, some things that I don't even, of course, myself quite yet know the answer to. It's a really exciting time, you guys. I mean, I've said this multiple times, and I don't want to beat this dead horse, but we only get to experience brand new hardware, and especially a brand new Nintendo console, only every couple of years, every 5 to 6 or 7 years. It's a rarity, really. And I think that we should be, really paying attention to how fortunate we are to be, again, on the cusp of brand new Nintendo hardware. And yes, in another 5 or 6 years, we'll get the same thing again, and that's going to be fantastic at that time as well. But we're talking about the here and now. And here and now, we have a brand new Nintendo Switch that's going to allow us to do a couple of things we've never been able to do. We're going to have that in 2 months, and it's less than 2 months, and it's just so freaking exciting. So, I'm going to go ahead and get right to this, you guys. I'm just going to count down what I think are the 5 best things about the Nintendo Switch, according to me. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about today, the number 5 most exciting thing, according to me, about the Nintendo Switch is pretty straightforward and obvious, and it's the portability. It's the simple fact that the console is what it is, and it allows us to take any gaming experience, whatever it is that's designed and developed for the Switch, no matter how AAA it may be, or no matter how indie it may be, or multiplayer focused, or single player focused, or what have you, everything designed for the Switch and made for the Switch, also including third-party multi-platform games potentially, allows us to take these games on the go or play them in super high definition in our super fantastic, gigantic 50, 60, 70-inch TVs, whatever it is that we're playing on. And that's a really big deal, you guys. It really, really is a big deal. And like I said in a recent video too, when kind of summing up the system after being able to play it last weekend, it's great because having had my hands on it and played it in all these different modes and switched it to the TV, to the handheld, and the TV and back and forth on the dock, it really does deliver on this promise, you guys. It really is a portable that's a home console and a home console that's a portable. And that truly hasn't been done. Obviously, certain handhelds like the 3DS and the Vita have really given us very close to console-like gaming experiences. The Vita more so, but it also didn't have very good games, so we've had that before, and that's really great. And then even the Wii U toyed with the idea of being able to take that, console experience with you around your own house, and that is certainly neat. And I love the Wii U and the gamepad, but this is like the next step, man. This is Nintendo really creating something new, and I also think it's going to be a big hit. I've talked about it many times. When it was initially shown off and revealed as the Switch back in October, I was like, well, that's awesome. But I feel like I'm more of a home console guy. I'm not really worried about taking it with me on the go. And it's cool like for the people who want that, but I'm just going to keep it on my TV, and it's a home console for me. But even before I went to New York, thinking about it more and more and seeing some more things about it, I was like, I feel like once I actually have this in my hands and in my house, I probably will feel more compelled to want to take the Switch out of the dock and take it with me wherever I go and play gaming on the go, or even over to my buddy's house or whatever. I could see myself doing it. And now that I've actually tried it, oh yeah, I feel like that's going to happen more often than I probably would have anticipated, even though it's still going to mostly be a home console for me. So I really think that this is going to be a hit, this aspect of the console. I think that when people really see how seamless the transition from console to portable is, and when people see how much your home console experience really is playable and doable on the Switch, on the tablet, with those controllers, I think it's going to be a big deal. So without doubt, I think it's one of the best and strongest aspects of the console. And the next item on my list, the number 4 greatest thing about the Nintendo Switch to me, are controller options. Now, this is another obvious one because we've all seen it seems like there's 100 different ways to play the Switch. You got the Joy-Cons in the grip, you got the Joy-Cons in each hand, you got one Joy-Con for you and one Joy-Con for your friend, or you've got a Pro Controller. That's a lot of things going on. And then when you see what 1-2 Switch allows us to do, it shows you the myriad different ways you can use the controllers beyond that. And that's exciting to me because when you look at someone who's a Nintendo fan, as Nintendo fans, we've seen a lot of different controller types and ways to interact with our controllers come and go over the last 10, 15, 20 years. And to me, it's one of my favorite things about being a Nintendo fan, and one of my favorite things about Nintendo's hardware and their innovation is the fact that you never quite know what to expect, but they're always going to try something new, they're always going to throw you a curveball, and more often than not, the curveball succeeds. Obviously, there are the occasions where it doesn't. The Virtual Boy was a failure. A lot of people argue against the gamepad, and although I love it so, there is a case to be made against it that I do still understand. So, there is definitely a lot going into the conversation of when Nintendo tries wacky controller things. But what I like about the Switch is that it's taking all of those elements, all of the things that are Nintendo, all of the things that are innovative control schemes, and all of the things that are normal industry standards, the most important key element here, and it takes all of those things and puts it into one. So that whether you like Nintendo's wacky controls, whether you like IR pointers or motion controls or weird rumble or whatever, you've got that. If you like just your straight up regular old controls, I just want my analog sticks and my normal buttons, well, you've got that too. And it's not only that you have that in a separate Pro controller you can buy separately, but you have that in the actual wacky controllers that come with the system. Because you can take those weird new innovative Joy-Con controllers that Nintendo has that you can do all this crazy shit with, and just put them in the damn grip, and you've got a normal controller with the absolute industry standard button layout. And that is the coolest thing about the Switch. Not to mention that you can still do all of those things, normal or wacky, still on the go in portable mode or on your TV at home. I mean, there's so much going on with what Nintendo has included with this system, and they've done it seamlessly. It's not like a struggle or a hurdle or an inconvenience for players to pick the way they want to play the Nintendo Switch. Whether they want the wacky thing or the normal thing, it's like seamless and brainless to just pick the one you want to do and go. And Nintendo, even in the box, has included every single option because you get the 2 Joy-Cons and you get the grip. So you can really do whatever you want. The Pro Controller is just a nice little benefit if you want to spend the money, but you don't need that to experience the Nintendo games on the Switch in whatever way you want. So Nintendo has knocked it out of the park once again with what they're doing with their controllers for the Switch, and it just has me so incredibly excited. And the third item on our list today is going to be The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And the simple fact that what could be one of the greatest games of all time ever made is going to be launching with the Nintendo Switch. Now, on my last video, I discussed, the possibility of Breath of the Wild being the greatest launch title of all time. And to me, the quality of a launch title isn't necessarily the same as the quality of the title. I don't think that those two ideas have to line up. They very well could, and in the past they have before. But I think that anyone, by the way, should go watch that video if you haven't. I'm going to link it down below in the description or at the end of the video. But if we remove ourselves from that conversation and just look at it as a title, and as a title that's launching the Nintendo Switch, it's going to be one of the greatest gifts any gaming company could possibly give us for brand new hardware. Like I've even said in the past, notoriously consoles don't launch with great hardware. We've had the occasional killer app, there's been some amazing games in the past, and a lot of times some of a system's best games come even a couple of months after launch, but when we look at launch day, it's rare to get something of such magnificent scope and just complete majesty as Zelda Breath of the Wild to launch a brand new Nintendo console with, and that just has me so excited. It's like, You can argue how dismal, for the most part, the Nintendo Switch launch looks like, and there are a couple of games I've played that I'm very excited to pick up day one. Snipper Clips and Bomberman absolutely have to be day one purchases for most people, I think, but those aren't killer apps, and they aren't for everybody. I mean, I'd argue Snipper Clips is for everybody, but still, those aren't for everybody. But what Zelda Breath of the Wild represents is a strong start for Nintendo. It represents a Nintendo that wants to be aggressive and say, hey, we've got these kick-ass AAA Nintendo quality experiences coming. We're starting day one with what could be one of our strongest titles that we've ever made, at least in the last 20 years. And that says something. I think it's Nintendo making a statement, and it's just a game that I goddamn want to play more of. I've played it for 40 minutes in a demo setting, but I want to sit on my couch or sit on this chair that I'm sitting in right here where I do a lot of my gaming as well, and I just want to soak into that my 50-inch TV, HD TV, and my awesome sound system, and just soak into the vast world of Hyrule and just go for what's probably going to take me a month to 2 months to beat this game, because as I said, I'm a very busy guy anyway. It's hard for me to fit in my gaming time with my regular life and my band and my girlfriend and my career and all this crazy crap that I do. And this is like a 10 trillion hour adventure, Breath of the Wild. I mean, we've seen there's like 120 shrines and like 900 side quests or whatever those numbers are that just came out. It's going to take anyone a while, and it's going to take me a long time. It'll probably be 2 months before I beat this game, but it's going to be all I'm playing for so long, and I just can't wait to do that. And so I'm so excited to have such an amazing killer app debut launch game for the Nintendo Switch. I feel like we're so fortunate to have this game coming to us in just a couple of weeks' time. So obviously it had to make my list of the most exciting things about the Nintendo Switch. And coming in at number 2 on my list of awesome things about the Nintendo Switch is a very, very important one, and that is the potential, the possibilities of the Switch and where it could go from here. And that could mean anything as far as just the Switch's individual success, or where it could be taking Nintendo as a company and where their success could go. We're going to be hard pressed to look at the Switch as a failure, I think. It's going to take a lot to really bring this down. There's a lot of the right positive buzz and momentum going into the launch of the Switch. Obviously, a lot of people tempered their expectations or even felt disappointed after the Tokyo reveal event. And although I overall liked it, I do understand that to a degree. There's a lot of things about that presentation that I think Nintendo didn't do right, even though it wasn't meant to be an E3 thing, as I've discussed myriad times. I still think there's a couple of things they could have probably tweaked to make it stronger for the worldwide audience, because at the end of the day, they still knew the whole world was going to be tuning in. So it would have been nice if they did a couple of things differently. However, they didn't, and so a lot of people have sort of changed their perspective, and they have a lot more trepidation going into the launch than maybe they previously did. But still, even through that, for the most part, the world seems to be very excited for the Switch. The gaming public, the Nintendo fan, the gamer, everyone's excited to see what Nintendo's new console is really going to bring to the table. And having had my hands on it, I feel the same, more so now than I did before. I know that this thing is going to be a hit. So we can all look forward to Nintendo finally saying, hey, we've got another successful product on the market. Let's keep pumping out games. Let's get people excited. Let's remind the world and the industry why Nintendo kicks ass and why we are here to stay no matter what you say. And through that, where is that going to take Nintendo, and where is that going to take the Switch? When I look at what the Switch allows us to do, the portability of games, we've all talked about it. We can take a game like Skyrim, or maybe Bethesda's next game, or if Rockstar gives us Red Dead Redemption, or Grand Theft Auto, if we get Dead Space 4, Mass Effect Andromeda, Call of Duty, I mean, I could just keep going, Destiny 2, whatever they want to give us, not to mention all of Nintendo's games. We can take games like that anywhere. And Nintendo's working on this, this mobile network, and you can do all these cool things with the mobility, how you're going to play online, how we're going to use our cell phones and our smartphone apps to interact with our gameplay and our voice chat experiences. There could be some good and some bad to that. But regardless, it's a new way to interact with our game console, and so I think there's a lot of potential in making this, focusing this back to like the main topic here. I think there is so much potential with what the console and the ideas Nintendo are creating are giving us and showing the gaming public and showing the gaming industry and the developers in the industry that I'm really excited to see where it's going to go from here. Where is the Nintendo Switch going to take itself? Where are gamers going to take it? Where is it going to take us gamers? And where is it going to take Nintendo? Obviously, some things might not pan out. You don't ever want to assume everything is going to be the best hit that it could possibly be. I do think that the Nintendo Switch is going to make money for Nintendo and be a much bigger hit than the Wii U was. But will it be the super big hit we want? Who knows? I think that the potential and the possibility exists for it to be one of Nintendo's biggest successes, and I think it has the possibility to further change the gaming landscape. It could be something that's so successful that maybe Sony sees a reason to release another handheld. And obviously they haven't been so successful in that, but I think that that still shows, if that were to happen, it shows that Nintendo is still making an impact in the industry. And the simple fact that they may potentially, make a competitor consider doing something like that means that they're shaping the industry and its own competition. And that's a really bold thing to say, and it could be really, really exciting. So I just think that the possibilities could potentially be endless for Nintendo and for the Nintendo Switch. And that is one of the coolest things about brand new hardware that's letting us do something we've never seen before. And finally, my number one absolute most favorite thing, and what I think is the coolest element about the Nintendo Switch, is the JoyCons. The JoyCons themselves. Now, I know I talked about the options for the controllers, and so they're kind of similar ideas, you might want to say. But really, for myself, and especially for someone who's, played with these things and played with all the different controller options, I think that they're different enough. The Joy-Cons specifically represent the absolute best thing about Nintendo. My favorite thing about Nintendo is they find amazing ways to change how the gamer can interact with the game and how a developer can create new ideas and new software for a console. And that is one of the biggest elements that I hope people remember. And it's, when I complained about developers not delivering on the Wii U, that was one of my biggest complaints, was I feel the gamepad, I think it's only looked at as a failure now because the potential for the gamepad was never truly delivered on. I think that it had enough good ideas in it that a lot of developers could have done some amazing things with it. And to me, the gamepad always kind of exposed most of the third-party developers in the industry as not creative or imaginative enough. It's like, you guys, you're making this game or this game or this game. Why wouldn't you make it on the Wii U and take advantage of the really cool controller? I always used Fallout as an example for that, and there's many others as well. There were some developers that did great things. Ubisoft did amazing things with Zombie U and Rayman Legends and Splinter Cell. And Square did a fantastic job with Deus Ex Human Revolution. And there's even a couple of other ones. I mean, there were some companies that did a few things early on, but that went away eventually. And it's like, you guys, Nintendo is providing a tool to you. I want you to take advantage and show us that you have creativity within you and make something awesome using this tool. Now, with the Joy-Cons, I think Nintendo has taken that idea to the next level, because those things are incredible, you guys. The fact that you can play with two hands separately, the fact that two people can play with the two controllers in one hand, the fact that they have the HD rumble, which is so freaking cool, and they've got the IR sensor. There's 1,000 different things you can do with the Joy-Cons. They're motion controls and regular controls all wrapped into one, which is with this whole new element of rumble. And I don't want gamers to sell that idea short, and I don't want the industry and developers to sell that idea short, because they're absolutely awesome. And I think that we're going to see a new golden age of Nintendo's controllers being in the limelight. I really think that they are going to be delivered upon. I have faith, and maybe I shouldn't, because part of that faith is obviously put in Nintendo, but the other part of it has to be put in the third-party developers. And that's a risky thing to do when talking about Nintendo, and I know that. But I'm going to cross my fingers. I've played with these things. I know how awesome they are, and we've seen a lot of third-party developers reacting very positively to the Switch and what these things can possibly be offering them. And so I know it's risky to believe them, but I'm going to. I'm going to play the optimist here, and obviously I could get burned, but I'm willing to take that risk because I really believe in what the Joy-Cons are offering us, you guys. And I'm so excited to have my own Joy-Cons in my hands. Like, I couldn't get enough of those at the New York event. I just was so enamored by them. I was already very excited to try them, and I was like, oh, these seem really cool. Like, what's going to happen? And I talked about this when I reviewed the Tokyo event. We didn't know the Joy-Cons had all this brand new tech in them. I thought they were just the most basic little plastic things. They were just something meant to get the job done until we buy our Pro controllers. And boy, was I wrong. We were all wrong, and they blew me away at the Tokyo press conference. They were my favorite thing there, and they were my favorite thing at the New York City event. Once I was playing the Nintendo Switch in my own hands, they're amazing. Oh my God, they're so cool, you guys. And I get that they're not for everybody, but that goes back to number 4 on this list, where the options exist for people who don't even want to mess with the Joy-Cons. I, however, think they are the coolest, most fun, unique, exciting thing about the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo, I love you for doing what you're doing with the Joy-Cons. I just can't praise them enough. Hopefully the industry and the third-party developers, and yourself, Nintendo, because you've dropped the ball on your own ideas in the past as well, and yourself, hopefully everybody buys into these things and really takes advantage of what Nintendo's created for us, because these Joy-Cons, you guys, I'm telling you, they're the bee's knees, and I just can't wait. So that's my list for today, guys. Those are the 5 things that I am personally the most excited for when it comes to the Nintendo Switch. What I think from my own hands-on experience of playing the Nintendo Switch all day last Saturday, I think these are the 5 things that are the best qualities about the Nintendo Switch so far, leading up to the launch. Obviously, I'm making this list before the Nintendo Switch is released. So maybe you're watching this in like 2018 and then the Nintendo Switch has become a totally different deal than we think it is right now. But you can't judge this from the future. You got to judge this in the right now. And here in January 2017, I think these are the 5 best things and the most exciting things about the console. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of my list and the 5 things that I discussed? And for yourself, what are the things that you're most excited for about the Nintendo Switch? Do they align with any of the things that I listed here? Or do you have complete other ideas on what you think might be really exciting about Nintendo's brand new console? Tell me what you think. Share your thoughts below. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Rule of 2 Review, and I'll catch you guys next time on another video.